Salam sejahtera penduduk Bukit Batok dan hadirin yang saya hormati. Makale, வாக்காளர்களே, நண்பர்களே, அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். 各位同胞、居民们、朋友们，大家晚上好。I've known Murali for 16 years. When Madam Rahayu was speaking earlier, she said that when I walked around Bukit Batok, I had something very simple to say. This is a good man. This is a man I trust. Why do I say that? From the moment I met him, one thing was obvious. He had a real heart for helping people, not for any interest of his own. First encounter, second encounter, it comes across very obviously. He really wants to help. I learned later that he also was very good at building teams, and especially when Dr. Ong Chichung passed away, the way he rallied people around, built the team, made it even stronger. He gained my respect. And I learned more recently, in the last few years, that he doesn't just have heart, he doesn't just build teams, he's got guts. That's Murali. He's got heart, he knows how to motivate people, build teams, and he's got guts. He will serve Bukit Batok well. I tell you a story that goes to the heart of the man. After looking after Bukit Batok, when Dr. Ong Chichung passed away, it was hard work, bringing the team together, patching up some differences, motivating people. The community gained hope under Murali's leadership. So 2011, Mr. Debunking, who had been working very closely with him, together with the other Jurong MPs in Bukit Batok, proposed that Murali be given our highest award within the PAP for activists. We call it a commendation award. It's normally given after 20 years, 30 years. PM said yes. Let's give this award to Murali. Murali said no. No award for me. That's the man. No credit for himself. He doesn't want any credit for himself. He said, give the credit to the whole team. That is Murali. A vote for Murali and a vote for the PAP in Bukit Batok is also a vote for the PAP to be part of the Jurong family. And it's not just words, There's real advantage in Bukit Batok, who's been part of Jurong for the last 15 years, to remain part of Jurong. Town Council, Mr. Ang Weneng has spoken about it. There's clear advantage. We've got a track record. We're able to give priority on a fair basis. And in fact, Bukit Batok has had more priority than the rest of Jurong when it comes to neighborhood renewal programs. Because we know it's more mature, we've given it more priority. So we will take care of Bukit Batok. We've got a track record. Never perfect, sometimes some mistakes, quickly sort them out and improve. But you can trust us to look after Bukit Batok well. But it's not just about the town council, not just about estate maintenance. It's also about the whole team that keeps the community going across Jurong. The volunteers, the activists, sharing programs not just for one constituency, but spread across constituency like Loving Hearts, raising funds for each other, which is what we always do, strengthening the community as a whole. So I give you this assurance. Jurong will look after Bukit Batok with heart, with responsibility, and with the credibility of a track record. Those are the local issues. But let me say something also about contributions on a national stage. And this is what the SDP and Dr. Chee Soon Juan in particular talks a lot about. In fact, the SDP thinks this is their strength, policy proposals. And I'd like to say something about their policy proposals. These are very important matters. We have challenges. Singapore, like every society, has challenges. How do we stay safe and secure in a world where extremism is now part of reality? Not just for today or 1 year, it'll be with us for a while. How do we stay safe and secure? Number one priority. How do we give the children with the most difficult starts, the toughest starts, the best chance to gain confidence, develop their potential, and do well? We've got more to do, and we're doing more, particularly in early education. How do we help every Singaporean throughout life to keep developing their skills, to develop the skills for future jobs, not just the jobs of the past? Skills Future, a whole set of programs to help them, especially the middle-aged Singaporean. And how do we help our seniors? Give them quality, affordable healthcare. Give them the comfort of community where they live. Major challenge. Every society faces it, particularly the older societies. And we have embarked on a major set of plans to go forward on each of these areas. Murali, his views on every one of them. He spoke briefly just now about some of his views on building the Singapore core and the workforce, strengthening elder shield payouts for the elderly. He's got practical, constructive views. But I want to say something about the SDP because they think this is their strength. They've written policy papers, some very thick ones. But policies are not about research papers. Policies are ultimately about politics. They're ultimately about the type of politics that surrounds and clothes your policies. What do you tell people when you tell them about the advantage of this policy against another? How do you persuade them to your point of view? How do you tell them to vote for you? And I've been studying the SDP. I don't want to go back 20 years. I've been looking at what they've been saying in this by-election, and I've looked at what they've said 6 months ago in the general election. I've looked carefully at everything they've said. Dr. Chee, Paul Tambaya, all the rest. Because I take what they say seriously. And I'm troubled. But I have to tell you where I'm coming from. People know me. I've never been against the opposition, and a healthy opposition in Singapore. They know me. After the last general elections, the day after, I commended the opposition for bringing in good new people. And I told them, I know you've lost, stay active and try and contribute. I'm not against a healthy opposition. So don't misjudge me in what I'm about to say about the SDP and Dr. Chee. I'm troubled because the way they're going about what they call policy proposals is in fact the politics of spreading fear and alarm and the politics of populism, giving people promises, telling them the good things without telling them what the costs are, what everyone will have to pay. That's bad. Spreading fear and alarm and being populist is the wrong type of politics for Singapore. It's the wrong way to advance our democracy. And I'll give you some examples about what I mean by the politics of spreading fear and alarm. CPF, Dr. Chee spoke about it at his last rally. $800 billion gone missing from our reserves. quoted an associate professor from Peking University. Absolute rubbish. I know these theories and analyses. The MOF has patiently addressed each of them. It's all on the internet, MOF website, government website. Anyone can see it if they want. Dr. Chi himself says, I don't understand much of what I've just said, he said. I don't understand much of this. Then why do you spread fear? If you don't understand, go and do some more work. There's one example. Jobs. Only 100 jobs created last year. 1 per constituency. Crazy. Have a sense of reality. If you're on the ground, you know people are losing jobs. We try and help them. We get them new jobs. Even if you just look at just E2I and WDA alone, we created 17,000 jobs last year. Just E2I and WDA, not counting people getting jobs in the marketplace. Anyone with a sense of reality knows that. If you just take EDB alone, just one government agency, EDB, the investments it has got created about 20,000 jobs last year. A sense of reality. Either you don't know, in which case do the homework, or you know and you're willfully spreading fear and alarm. Bad politics. The elderly. Dr. Chi knows how to tug at the emotions. He spoke about suicides. It troubles all of us. Every single case of suicide and the elderly suicides he speaks about is tragic. Tragic for the individual, tragic for their loved ones. Tragic. But he says, therefore, the government is heartless, uncaring, and stubborn. His words. Luckily, by the way, it was SDP saying that about PAP. Imagine if it was PAP saying that about SDP, there'll be a big hoo-ha. How dare you say they're uncaring and heartless? But please, he says, I will keep raising this issue until the government increases spending on the elderly. Where has he been? Look at what we've been doing in the last 5 to 10 years, just the last few years alone. Pioneer Generation Package, CHAS, MediSave top-ups, increased subsidies in specialist outpatient clinics, inpatient subsidies, thousands more nursing home places, community care places, home nursing places, palliative care places, huge expenditure. Spending on the elderly is the largest increase in the government budget compared to any other item, including defense. The largest increase. Where has he been? And if you add it up, since he's making a big point about it, if you add it up, the amount of money we now give each retiree household, a household with a retiree, an older person, is now over $5,000 a year. After paying their taxes, the benefits we're giving them minus the taxes is now over $5,000 a year. Sorry, after taxes is about $4,000 a year. That's twice as much as it was 10 years ago. Even for the sandwich group, or those who are better off, 5-roomers, executive apartment occupants, retirees living in 5 rooms and executive apartments. After paying their taxes, they get back benefits each year, $2,000, which is 4 times more than what it was 10 years ago. These are not estimates, they're not numbers we are trying to construct. This is real data, what we actually gave households last year. For those in 5-room flats and executive apartments, they don't get Medifund, they don't get some of our subsidies for the poor, but they get significant healthcare subsidies, and they got $2,000 on average. Some got far more, even after paying their GST and other taxes. So that's what we are doing. So don't spread fear and alarm just because all of us feel badly about each suicide. If you have something constructive to say about healthcare policies, let's debate it. Let's debate it. Second, the politics of populism, promising the good things without saying how much is it going to cost and how much we're all going to have to pay. Again, in this election and the last elections, that's been their style. You talk about healthcare. They think that's their strength. They've got a healthcare policy proposal. They talk about the benefits. Universal healthcare. Everyone can get free or close to free healthcare. Everyone, rich or poor, will give it to you. They don't tell everyone in the rallies how much it will cost. They say France has a very good system. Don't say that universal healthcare is bad, because France has a good system and international studies show that France has a good system. Yes, it's actually quite a good system. France has a very high quality healthcare system. It's also extraordinarily expensive. The ordinary person has to pay 20% of his or her income in taxes just for healthcare. Just for healthcare, not for all the other things. Which means, if you take it in a Singapore context, the ordinary person has income of the median Singaporean, right in the middle. The median Singaporean has $4,000 income, including employer CPF. It means each month, he or she has to pay $800 in taxes for this healthcare benefit. So it's not free. And you must tell people it's not free. If you want them to have peace of mind of going to the hospital and getting something free, you've also got to tell them you've got to pay for it. And it's not just the rich who pay for it. Everyone has to pay something, and the ordinary person in France pays 20%. And this is not counting the GST which they have, which is another 20%, and income tax, which for the ordinary person in the middle in France is 15% income tax, compared to 0% here. So that's how we have to discuss policies. Lay out the benefits, lay out the costs, be honest about that. Don't bluff people. Unemployment insurance, another thing, another proposal they've been talking about. Not a crazy idea. If one day we have high long-term unemployment, like so many other countries have, including some Asian countries, if we have high structural unemployment, as the economists call it, we may have to consider some form of insurance. But if we do at that stage, we're not there yet, and we want to avoid getting there, if we ever need to consider it, we'll have to be frank about the costs. Don't just say, as Chee Soon-Juan said in his rally, his last rally, that these are the benefits, very significant benefits. For 18 months, you get unemployment benefits. And when it came to the cost, he says, don't worry, it's just a small part of your salary, and the government will pay the rest. Well, he didn't want to talk about the costs. But I know from their proposal, because, believe it or not, I actually went through their research paper, it cost $2 billion. $2 billion for all our Singaporean workers, that's about $1,000 per year. Tell people that's what it'll cost. And then we can discuss, look, what's the best way to shape this policy? We're a long way from that, because we have low unemployment and we intend to keep it that way by training people for jobs, getting them as quickly as possible from an old job to a new job, subsidizing them when they get into the new job. And we want to avoid ever getting to that stage of high long-term unemployment. But that's not the point. The point I'm making is this. If you want to talk about policies, be honest, be truthful, tell people what the benefits are, what the costs are. So that's what I mean by the politics of populism. But at the end of the day, advancing our democracy is not about speaking as fearlessly or fiercely as you can. It's about developing a consensus in society, pushing the consensus forward so that we build a more inclusive society. We must never end up like where the United States is in today and several Western European countries. They are fragmented. The population is fragmented. They're divided. Social trust, people trusting each other, is lower than it's ever been in the last 60 years. And demagogues now have great sway in a way that never was the case before. These societies weren't like that before. They had a strong consensus in the middle, but they've changed, and we must never get there. Never pursue the politics of division. Always pursue the politics of developing consensus. You don't need to agree with the PAP. You don't need to agree with the PAP. But discuss things openly, tell people the truth. These are the benefits, these are the costs. Let's argue what's best. Always go for a consensus and a better consensus. That's how we advance democracy. And that's how I hope the SDP is the track I hope the SDP gets onto. At the end of the day, this election is about who you trust. Murali is a quiet man. I know he's a lawyer, but he's a quiet man. In fact, that speech he gave just now is the loudest speech I've ever heard him give him. But he listens more than he talks. He does, he delivers, he works out solutions, and you will always know he's doing it because of you, not him. And that's the first thing. You can trust Murali to serve you because it's you, not because you are part of his political journey. He will serve you because it's you. Each child with a difficult start, each mother who's lost her spouse, each couple in the sandwich class who has difficulty looking after their elderly parents, is because of you. He's helping you. You're not part of his political journey. And that's the first thing you can trust Murali to do, to serve you because it's you. You can also trust him to help you when no one is looking, when the media is not around. Chun Seng spoke about that. The media was looking for him the last 9 days. He may have been trying to avoid the media, but he wants to be with residents, talk to them, listen to them, and think in his mind, what can we do better? What can our team do better? You can trust him to serve you when no one is looking. No publicity, no credit. And you can trust Murali to build a team, strengthen a team, build new leaders, and keep it going. Easy to say you can do it, but track record matters. Who has the track record of building teams? And in his case, by the way, it's not just these 16 years. It started in his school days, his NS days, where his platoon was best platoon because of his style of leadership. His police days, when he ran an outstanding division. His community service days, where in his quiet, self-effacing way, people rallied around him. They believed him, they trusted him. He knows how to build teams. Look at track record of building teams. And finally, who's going to help us at the national stage to keep advancing our agenda of building an inclusive society? Brick by brick, never thinking it is easy, and always knowing that it is also about advancing our culture, pushing the consensus forward by getting everyone to feel that they want to be part of this inclusive society and they want to contribute. A culture where every child's dream is our dream. Every single mother's challenges are our challenges. How do we build that culture? It's very different from the politics of division. It requires persuasion. It requires people feeling that you're with them. It requires credibility. And this man has it. This man has it. So I don't want to end this speech sharp at 10 o'clock. I don't want to end with any soaring rhetoric. It's not my style. It's not Murali's style. It's not our style. And in any event, I haven't borrowed the teleprompters from the SDP. So let me keep it simple. Vote for someone with credibility. Vote for the man whom you can trust because of his track record. Vote for the man who's doing it for you and not himself. And vote for Bukit Batok to be part of Jurong. We want you in Jurong. I want to thank everyone who's worked with Murali, worked with the team that's been organizing this campaign over the last 9 days. It's a tough fight. I'll tell you that. It's going to be a very tight fight. It's going to be tight. If Chee Soon Juan wins, I will congratulate him and wish him well. If he loses, I would advise him to reflect and ask, how can things improve? This is his 5th constituency. What should change? It's not just about a newspaper headline or about the system. What should change? So that would be my advice, if I may, to Dr. Chee. If he wins, I'll congratulate him. If he loses, please reflect on things. Don't keep blaming the system and try and change. So, friends, vote for a future that involves all of us. Vote for a man who's a good man whom we can trust. Vote for Murali. Vote for the PAP in Bukit Batok. Thank you very much.